Hello, welcome to FHE on the Road with Christine Stevenson. This podcast is designed to connect the people and the places from the past with your lives today, with 5-minute stories and facts from church history. Save these stories for when you are traveling through these areas to bring history to life. Okay, today we're going to talk about the Palmyra, New York Temple. I have never been to the Palmyra, New York Temple. I've never been to Palmyra. But after studying this temple, I want to go so bad. So even if you haven't been to New York or to Palmyra, these podcasts can really inspire you, hopefully. They've inspired me. So as we know, the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints love their temples. These buildings are very special to the members because of the beliefs that these buildings are God's dwelling place on earth. The promises that the members make with God in these special buildings can be life-changing and remind the members of the church of their eternal goals. The leadership of the church has wanted to make temple attendance more accessible to all, but temple building is very expensive. And temples are built with the very best materials the world can offer, and the cost can be challenging. Even after the initial building costs, the maintenance of each of these temples adds up. So balancing the cost with the need for the members to have the blessings of the temple more easily accessible is what the leadership has struggled with for a long time. That was something that was really weighing on President Gordon B. Hinckley's mind when he received the revelation on how to get more temples to more people. So the temple building process was relatively slow in the 1900s. It had taken 166 years to get the first 50 temples built and running. And President Hinckley received that revelation on how to get more temples while he was on a trip to visit the saints in northern Mexico. So we'll be doing another podcast on that too, because that's a really, really fun story too. So President Hinckley prayed to know how to get the blessings of the temples to all members of the church worldwide. He received a revelation on small temples, and this changed the course of temple building in the 90s. President Hinckley became known as the temple building prophet because so many temples were built under his direction. The Palmyra Temple was one of the small temples announced by President Hinckley. There were not enough members of the church in Palmyra to justify the cost of a large temple, but when the revelation of small temples came, then President Hinckley knew that Palmyra was the place that needed a temple. So it's pretty awesome. Merrill J. Bateman, the president of Brigham Young University in 1996, recalled speaking to President Hinckley about how temple building was going for the church at the time. He recalled President Hinckley saying that he hopes to have 100 temples built before his time as prophet was over. In 1996, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was getting ready to dedicate their 50th temple. Again, that had taken 166 years to get the first 50 temples of the church up and running. And the goal to build 50 more temples when President Hinckley was 86 years old was quite the goal. It was only 6 months after this conversation with Merrill J. Bateman that President Hinckley announced the concept of smaller temples. President Hinckley said that he had visited with the temple building committee and they had informed the prophet that it seemed possible that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints could have 100 temples operating by the year 2000, only 4 years in the future. So that was a huge goal. The stake president in Rochester, New York stake was David L. Cook at the time of the announcement of the Palmyra Temple. David recalled the phone call from President Hinckley saying, "President Cook, it's time to build a temple in the area where it all started. What do you think of that?" And the stake president, of course, was very excited to get the temple there. So President Hinckley selected the area personally for the Palmyra, New York Temple. They held a fireside for the members in the Palmyra area, and then shortly after, they announced the plans to build the Palmyra Temple to the rest of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was a very exciting announcement. So President Hinckley said, "I regard this temple as perhaps the most significant in one respect in the entire church," President Hinckley said. "It was right here in the sacred grove where it all began." And then here's another quote. He said, I marvel at what has happened here. From the first vision, this work has spread over the earth to more than 160 nations with more than 10 million people who are members of the church. Who could ever have imagined it when that boy, Joseph Smith, walked into the grove, that the consequences of that event would become what we see today? Everything about the Palmyra, New York temple points to the sacred grove, which ultimately points to God. Because that's why the sacred grove is important, because the God, the eternal Father, and his Son, Jesus Christ, the windows of the Palmyra temple are made to look like the trees of the sacred grove, like you're entering your own sacred grove as you're entering the temple. The Palmyra temple is the only temple that has a clear glass window. And this clear window looks out to the actual sacred grove where God the Father and Jesus Christ spoke to Joseph Smith, initiating the return of the gospel of Jesus Christ on the earth again. Palmyra temple is beautiful with extra symbolism of the sacred grove as a reminder of the love of God for his children, knowing that God so loved the world that he gave his Son, and both God and Jesus Christ returned to call a young boy, the age of 14, to restore the gospel of Jesus Christ to the earth again. It is simply beautiful. So again, I've never been to the Palmyra, New York temple, but it sounds amazing. I had no idea that they had added so much symbolism of the sacred grove throughout the Palmyra temple, especially because the temples that President Hinckley, that were designed under President Hinckley, a lot of them are kind of cookie cutter, or you kind of presume they're cookie cutter because they look the same in a lot of the pictures, but it's the details that make the difference. And these windows in the Palmyra temple sound amazing. I'm so excited. I'm going to go there one day because, yeah. Thank you for listening to FHE on the road today. We hope you enjoyed what you've heard. Please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who'd be interested in these stories. Thanks.